Okay, think about the word treasure. Maybe it makes you picture something like the Hope Diamond, all glittery and worth millions. Or maybe it's more personal, like that box of stuff you kept as a kid.
Yeah, that old treasure box idea. It's such a universal thing, isn't it? We all assign value, sentimental or, actual monetary value.
Exactly. But what if there's a kind of treasure that's, well, different? Something beyond things that fade or get lost.
That's really what we're getting into today. We're looking at this ancient scripture, Deuteronomy 26, verses 16 to 19, to explore this very idea.
Right. Our mission, if you like, is to unpack a specific Hebrew term, amsegula. It means something like a king's most private, most cherished treasure.
And the implications for how we see ourselves and maybe our communities are pretty surprising.
Definitely. We'll look at how, fragile our earthly treasures really are compared to this, this divine perspective. It might just shift how you think about your own value.
It's interesting how some of the sources we looked at, even contemporary Korean interpretations, use these everyday examples, like that childhood treasure box again.
Yeah, full of things that felt like the most important things in the world back then.
But maybe now they're gone or forgotten, completely priceless to you, but ultimately sort of transient.
There's actually a Korean song, Jewel Box of My Heart, Gusho, that captures that feeling perfectly. Things once precious, but now lost, maybe out of reach.
Those personal jewel boxes, they tend to fade.
And that brings up a really crucial point from the source material, doesn't it?
It does, that all human-held treasures, whether it's the Hope Diamond or, a pebble from the beach, they don't last forever in our hands.
The owner eventually disappears from the treasure's point of view.
Exactly. Anything you can't take with you into eternity isn't really yours forever. So the big question becomes, is there any treasure that doesn't lose its owner?
And that's where Deuteronomy 26 comes in with a kind of revelation. It talks about an owner who never disappears.
Right. And what does this eternal owner treasure most?
Well, surprisingly, it's not gold or gems or anything like that.
Right.
According to the text, it's ango, us, people.
Verse 18 uses that term we mentioned, emsegula. In the Korean translation referenced, it's achenya, a treasured people.
So let's dive into amsegula a bit more. It's not just any treasure.
No, not at all. It specifically refers to a king's private treasury, separate from, the state coffers. This was his personal stuff, uniquely owned, maybe handled only by him, irreplaceable.
Wow. So for God to call people amsegula, that means we're seen as his personal, most beloved treasure.
And importantly, it's based on his declaration, his choice, not necessarily our own merits or actions at that moment.
It's incredibly powerful to be seen as a divine masterpiece, almost. But okay, let's be real. Sometimes looking at ourselves, our flaws, our mistakes, the idea of being God's most treasured possession can feel, a bit hard to square. The sources acknowledge this, right? We're imperfect.
Absolutely. We stumble. Deuteronomy 26.17 encourages acknowledging God as owner, but living that out consistently, that's the challenge.
So if you are this priceless yet fragile treasure, what happens? You can't just be left out in the open.
Exactly. Think about that Hope Diamond again, worth what, $350 million? You wouldn't keep it in your pocket, right?
Oh, wait, you'd put it in the most secure vault, the best display case, a magnificent jewel box.
Precisely. So the question becomes, what's the jewel box for God's treasured people, for emsegula?
And what did our deep dive reveal about that?
Well, the sources suggest that God, knowing our fragility, provides the strong, glorious community. It's identified as the church in Korean. Not just the building, obviously, but the community of believers.
A kind of communal setting where these individual treasures are gathered together, secure, enduring.
Yes, it's divinely established. It's a place for protection, shielding us from, the storms and temptations of the world.
But it's more than just protection, isn't it? There's something about being together.
Right. The idea is that our collective presence, us shining together, actually amplifies the light. We reflect God's glory more brilliantly as a community than any single one of us could alone.
A shared brilliance, designed to point back to the owner, the divine.
So remember that Korean song, Jewel Box of My Heart? That feeling of loss. For someone who embraces this understanding from Deuteronomy, the song changes. It becomes a song of joy, not loss.
Because you're not a forgotten jewel.
Exactly. You're seen as an eternal masterpiece, redeemed at immense cost, and gathered safely into this everlasting communal enclosure, the church, by an owner who is never going to disappear.
Wow. Okay, so here's something for you, the listener, to really chew on. How does this change things for you? Knowing yourself, potentially, as this uniquely treasured, divinely protected masterpiece, part of this bigger communal jewel box.
How might that transform how you see yourself, your purpose, even how you interact with others in your community?
Could recognizing this shared brilliance, this collective value, shift your life song? Maybe from one tinged with loss to one of deep, enduring joy. Something to think about.